guys, welcome back to Bandit Football Fans. We're coming at you with another episode of the podcast today. We've got some Game Week 1 reviews, looking forward to Game Week 2, and in between we've got some news and transfers coming in with some recent stories. Today we have myself, Calum. I'm a Chelsea fan. We've also got Deji, Man United fan, and Ben, as you can see, the new Thiago fan.
He's a Thiago fan.
We've got a Liverpool fan with us today as well. Hi guys, you all good? What's going on?
Yeah, good man.
Yeah, not too bad.
No.
It must be nice for
It's quite a good day today.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. It might just be the weather or something. You never know. Like, I can't think what it is.
I'm getting this vibe, Ben. I don't know what's calling to me, but you know, one of the two of you is happier than.
Oh no, I'm happy. I'm good, man. You know, I'm not gonna let this shit affect me. Stuff, bro.
You know that meme? You know that meme where the guy's crying behind the mask?
See, I think it's weird though, because I think like the older that I've got supporting football, I get less excited by transfers beforehand because I've seen so many of them go sideways. And like, I'm sure both of you have seen players you thought were signing for your club and then they haven't. And then when you actually get them through the door, like all of a sudden. So 2 days ago, I was not that excited about Thiago. It's like, yeah, he's a great player. If he comes in, he'll do a good job or whatever. Woke up today, checked my phone, and it's basically like he just needs to sign the thing. And I was just like, oh my God, we've got Thiago. Are you mad? Like... So, yeah, I'm a little bit, all of that excitement that people might have been feeling for 2 weeks, I've got that today. That nice freshness feeling.
What do you think is different now than how it was before, Ben? Is there anything that you could put your finger on?
What, in terms of what, football or?
Just that excitement that you talk about that you... I don't know how to phrase it really. It's something you can't. It's like,
I think it's one of those things. I think the longer that you're a fan of football, the more that you've like learned to deal with the bullshit of it. And there's so many things.
Changes, isn't it?
Yeah, but also I think as well with social media and everything like that, you just end up hearing about it non-stop, and you know things come from nowhere, and a lot of the time it's not even true. So like, I mean, I know Deji, I know Damola are very similar, and I'm in, you know, until they're on that holding that shirt
yeah.
on the website, then I'm not feeling to get excited just because we've been here before. Like, we were supposed to sign Willian, then next week he was going to Tottenham, then next week he signed for Chelsea. So it was just like, there's been too many of those occasions where it's just like, until that guy is there signing, then fuck it. I mean, even Timo Werner earlier this summer, do you know what I mean? Like, he had Liverpool written all over him, and then within 4 days he was a Chelsea player holding the shirt saying how much he loved the club. So it's just like, I've got cynical. The older I've got, the more cynical I've got with this stuff.
See, I prefer to wait until they're in until the first game, until I see them on the pitch, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. They could be signing a blank piece of paper for all I care. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So,
No, I can see. You mentioned some names there. I wasn't on that list. I am definitely a hype train whore. I am like Fabrizio, my man. He's made that guy. I love the agent hype, like the story grabbing, the journalists, agents, all that. I mean, you know, I understand people's views on it and stuff, but it's the way it is, isn't it? We all have a preference.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. I don't waste my time. Whenever, because this is what I'm saying. Whenever, like for example, like whenever someone comes along to me and goes, "Oh yeah, did you hear we're gonna sign this player and whatnot?" My face is usually just like this. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm not interested. Like Ben said, until they actually sign, until I actually see them with that shirt, I am not interested, because that's how they just play in your heartstrings. Look at Ed. Look what he's doing. That guy, he's the master of it. He's the master of playing with people's hearts and stuff like that. And I ain't got time for that stuff. And then all this. Do you know what? Even saying that as well. Let me just quickly bring something up, right?
Just to make sure no one's triggered by
Yeah. I'm not triggered. I just got something to say. See all these people who believe in when players come along and they go, "Oh yeah, man, I've always loved this club since I was a kid," and all that stuff. It's all lies. It's all just bullcrap. Do you get what I'm saying? All that stuff is just jazz. I'm not a sentiment for that. I really don't give a shit if you love the club or you didn't. As long as you give 100% on game day, do what you like. I don't care.
So what you're saying is, Dage, that if a player got announced, he was holding the shirt up and he said, "This club gave me 10 grand more than the other."
Oh, I'll respect you even more. I'd be like, that's
if you work for that money, then yeah.
Listen,
yeah.
if that's what your plan
Like
was,
that.
and that's
And
your
I
aim,
think, yeah, sorry to cut you off, but I think particularly as well, as the Premier League becomes more multicultural and these players, so I mean, we had it with Suarez when he went to Barcelona and Liverpool fans were disappointed. And it's like he's come from Uruguay to Holland to Liverpool. He's got family in Barcelona, you know. Like, he played great for us, but he had no ties. He wasn't a Scouser through and through. He wasn't born in fucking Kirby. Like, if someone offers him the bag and to play for a better club, why is he not going to go?
100%.
Like, I would feel weirder if he wanted to stay, because it's like, yo, where's your motivation? Where's your like passion to better yourself?
Yeah.
Like, and so yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different when like So I found out the other day. I don't know if you know this, but Jesse Lingard was actually born like in Liverpool, around the corner from Anfield. He was
I
like,
think I read something about that.
Okay.
something. I'm not sure how close, but like I was watching like a YouTube video where they were talking about basically what the teams would look like if they had to be born close to the stadium, and Lingard would have come through at Liverpool, and it's like things like that I would be more concerned about if there's like a picture of Lingard running around in a Liverpool shirt, and then next day he's like,
I don't know how.
"It's all right, man. You have him. It's a present from us."
Even as a Chelsea fan, I need a shower or something. I don't know. It's just a bit weird, right?
So, okay, I got a question for you, Ben. Yeah. So, who does Thiago
Right.
replace, or how does he fit in?
So I think it's an interesting one. I think he's opened the door for our midfield to have more rotation. So we traditionally on the clock we played with a 4-3-3, and we've had the holding midfielder. We've had two guys either side running up and down box to box. I think with him in the bag, he can either sit in the holding role. So I was looking at his stats earlier today, and like over the course of his career, I think he makes a tackle, 1.9 tackles a game, and he makes 1.7 interceptions, which isn't that far off what Fabinho does. So for a more aggressive, like if we're playing a team that we should beat more, for a more aggressive lineup, maybe him in the holding role. But I think also he could form a nice double pivot with Fabinho, and we can go 4-2-3-1. Or he can just, you know, he's an amazing player. You could just play him in one of the number 8 roles and just leave him to do his thing. Like when a player gets to a certain level, as long as they're not taking the piss, you can just trust them and just go we bought you because you're world class.
No, it must be nice, man. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, the thing for me is, and it reminds me a little bit of when we signed James Milner, is we're buying somebody who he's come through at Barcelona, so he knows the pressure from that. Then he's gone on to Bayern Munich, and he's been in a team that just wins every single season. Maybe not all of their goals, but they win competitions. Now we've got a team that have now won a Premier League, have now won a Champions League, and we need to convert to a team that can win, maybe not every season, but we want to be winning like every other Premier League. And having that experience in, and just having that guy in the dressing room that all the other players can look up to. And I don't think there's a single player in the Liverpool squad who can't learn from him. Like even someone like Henderson can look across and like there's a new person that he can learn from. All of those players, the young players obviously. I mean, even someone like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, like he's had his injury issues like Thiago has. And I think a lot of his early game was based on a more physical nature and learning the subtleties of playing like Thiago, who is like a fantastic playmaker from deep. I think it's a great boost to the group as a whole. And I don't think it's necessarily a signing where it's like, right, we have signed a player that's, you know, in the same way we signed Alisson or Fabinho, it's like they have a role, we bought them for a specific reason. I think we brought in a player to strengthen the whole group, and where he plays on the pitch will change on a game-to-game basis and is almost irrelevant because he just has that ability and that experience, just raise everything.
No, it's very true, mate. Ben, just a quick question. When you were saying a more aggressive choice, did you basically mean like offensive? More
offensively, yeah. So I mean, in terms of somebody, so Fabinho has got some great passing. He can pull some passing out the bag.
Yeah.
But I just think that Thiago is more consistent with it. He's really good on the long balls, good at spreading play, and I just think that would add a different dimension. Being able to find those wing backs, you know, on the wing, being able to just loop it over the top and have like Salah or Mane running onto it. And I just think defensive midfield has been a difficulty for us. Fabinho has filled it fantastically, and I just don't think we have another player that at the moment has been able to do it as much. And while I don't think Thiago is as defensive, I think he's tactically astute enough to be able to play that role, particularly against teams that aren't going to be pressurising him so much.
Definitely. I mean, you see him for Bayern, he's basically playing centre-back as well. He's anything from centre-back to centre attacking midfield. The guy's flexibility is mad.
And I think that's the thing. So, like, we saw it in the Leeds game. Jordan Henderson started in that holding role. And he is very good defensively at closing down and pushing forward. So he's great for a number 8 role. But I don't think he has the awareness of what's going on behind him to cut off the passing lanes. I think somebody like Thiago, who's got that experience, he can play centre-back, he can play as a defensive midfielder or more aggressive. I just think he would have more of a flexibility to be able to drop back into that. Don't necessarily want to see him there every single game, but like it's just another option, and it just rounds out the squad and allows people to play more in the positions that they're comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, when you do think about him, you know, we're talking about using Thiago's different abilities against different teams, and when you're playing against the quote-unquote smaller teams, he might be able to be kind of used in a different way. But if you were to think about some of the bigger teams, if Thiago were to drop into that centre-back position and almost pull out the opponent's midfield a little further, you could also say that that would create more space for Bobby Firmino in that kind of false cam role. By pulling their midfield forward towards you, he could then just pop it over into Bobby, and then you've got obviously the wing-backs in and Salah and Mane as well. That would
man. I mean, absolutely. I just think with the player he is, the flexibility he shows, and he could be in that role. I think with the bigger teams, it's more of a case of you have to adapt to the bigger team, and they have different kind of strengths and weaknesses. I'm not saying I don't want to like bag on the smaller teams, but it's easier for you to exert yourself over the opposition when they're not as good. And I think we saw that in a couple of the games, you know, this weekend, just gone. But I think the flexibility he offers, like you say, if he plays at centre back, or even if he just played in a double pivot like further back, that is then going to force midfielders to come and close him down, which, like you say, opens up that space for Firmino. So I think having the flexibility is going to give Klopp a lot more options. And I think it's going to provide more of a passing option in the midfield, and also the ability to slow down games, because I think one of our issues over the years has been if full throttle isn't working, we can have difficulty finding another way. Thiago could be that other way.
Just on that note of having lots of options, actually, obviously now you've got Henderson, Keita, Fabinho, Thiago, assuming that he comes through, Milner, Gini, if he stays, Gini Wijnaldum. You know, I think there's probably, you can maybe put another 2 in there if you've got like Curtis Jones, if you did want to include him in that.
That's why you still got Shaqiri there, isn't it?
I was more thinking like just in that kind of central third of the pitch. But, you know, there are over 6 midfielders, let's say, in that kind of area. Like, what's going to happen, man?
I think it would work, though, because I was talking to a mate and he was talking about having loads of midfielders and that. And I kept having to remind him that there's a lot of games, man. And I was talking to someone, and I don't know if it was D that said it, and he was talking about why are players getting injured so much now and stuff like that. And I was like, think about it. The intensity of the game has changed. You get what I mean? You need legs. And I don't think it depends, innit? If you get knocked out of competitions quite early, that creates a problem, innit? Because now you have to find people, you have to find games for people to play and stuff. But if you're in as much competitions as you are in now for the big 6 or whatever it is, then you're going to need legs, innit? And you need to pack out your midfield, because they're the engine, innit? They're the ones that keep on running, especially if we're playing this box-to-box type midfielders nowadays. Do you get what I mean? So I think having that many midfielders is not a problem, as long as you stay in the competitions that you're hoping to win. Do you get what I'm saying?
My comment on that, Deji, and I have to remember, this is coming from a Chelsea fan, and we could probably field an entire 11 just off centre. So I think my comment on that is, if you were like, basically the whole point of rotation is that you're looking for that spark from players who haven't had a chance before, right? You're looking for them to come into the team, stamp themselves on the game, you know, make their impact. And it actually annoys me when players get given a chance. And yes, you could say like, they need minutes, they need consistency. But sometimes you see players come in after months of not playing, and they're just bang, they're straight into the game. Everyone's like, why? Who is this guy? Like, why has he not been playing before? And if you do that, and you still, if you rotate and you play these new players that don't get such a chance, and you still go out of competition, like, you've already got a massive problem, because then that means that your squad mentality, like the motivation from everyone in the squad, not just the first 11, isn't there, in my opinion, anyway.
If you have, are you saying that if you have rotation, you have that problem?
Yeah, if you were saying that if you go out of competition, it becomes a problem, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So many games, I agree with that, definitely. But what I'm saying is, if you go out of a competition because of rotation, then you already have a problem, because
I get what you
players who have come in have not stamped themselves on your team and tried to, state themselves for that first team place.
But it depends, innit? Because at the end of the day, you still have hierarchy, innit? You still have your number one, you have your number two, you have your number three.
Yeah.
And we tend to see it a lot. With use Man United as an example, when we're playing like cup matches, like I was gonna say Capital One. It's not even called that. What's it called? Carabao. We're playing Carabao Cup, and all that shit and whatnot.
The Milk Cup, right?
Yeah, basically. You know what I mean? Or you play Arsenal Cup. If you're playing an Arsenal's Trophy Cup, thing. You find yourself there using, your second or your third. You're not really necessarily using your first team player. Do you get? That's the type of rotation that I'm talking about. Because, again, I don't expect going into this season that Pogba and Bruno are going to play every single match. It's just not going to happen. But the person who I want to come in as a number two in that rotational kind of thing that we're talking about, I want him to just be up, not necessarily the same level as Pogba or Bruno, but just underneath, so that we know that, right, okay, cool, if we haven't got the legs to play in this game, we've got someone else to come in. And I'm not saying they have to, like you said, you're saying they have to make their mark and all that stuff. I'm not necessarily looking for that. I'm looking for you to fill in that void. Do you get what I'm saying? And if you have a bad game, okay, that's on you. That's not on me. Do you know what I mean? We covered that one space that we needed to cover. But what I'm expecting is my first team player to come in and still carry on doing the job that you're supposed to be doing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely get that, mate. It's definitely one kind of train of thought. Personally, I would want every single player in my squad to be fighting for a first team place. Last year, we saw two kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. We had players like Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi, who, when they did get their chance, they didn't really claim it with both hands. And I know there's injuries and things that play a part in that. But then at the opposite end of the spectrum, you have like Billy Gilmore, who came in and everyone was just like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My guy.
That's the impact. But yeah, no, it's an interesting discussion to have, guys.
So I think, if I can look at it more from a Liverpool point of view.
Yeah.
I think part of it is having different options. So I think all of our midfielders offers something slightly different. But then all of them as well can play in different positions pretty much. So now we've got Thiago, who can maybe hold the base of midfield. Fabinho can cover the centre back. So obviously we lost Lovren. We haven't replaced him. Fabinho can play there. He can also play right back. So there's an option there. Thiago can drop back, or Thiago could possibly push forward and play a false nine role. You've got Oxlade-Chamberlain. I do prefer him in the centre, but he can play on either flank, both defensively or offensively. So I just think it's one of those nice problems to have, and I think somebody like Jurgen Klopp is experienced enough to do it. I think a lot depends on your manager and their experience and their ability to persuade players to buy into that. And I think there's one thing you can say about the Liverpool squad is they're all bought into Klopp's vision. And so I would like to think that they will see that Thiago coming in as an opportunity. And yes, they might lose in some ways, but they're going to gain in other ways, and potentially they're going to get in a better position because of it. But we'll have to wait and see.
I don't think Liverpool is going to suffer from that. I really don't. I don't think that's going to be a big major problem for that, man. Whoever comes into that team, you're looking at it like, look, man, this is the winning team. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me get my bonus and be on my way. Do you get what I'm saying? But I really don't. I really don't see it as a problem, that much of a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm probably only saying that because we're on the other scale of the problem, innit? But I really don't see that. I don't really see that being a problem that they have, to be fair. And then, like I said, there's a lot of games, man, and the intensity of football now is too different. It's just too different.
Yeah.
Going up against that Bayern Munich team is a long damn day. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I felt that.
Exactly. You know, I was even tired. I was tired watching the match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how
But
it is.
Deji, using that segue to United, mate. Obviously, if we're talking about transfers and stuff as well now. What happened, mate? What's going on? We know we Donny van der Beek in, but now we're hearing Spurs they've bagged Bale, they've bagged Reguilon. What's going on, mate?
Nothing. They're mad. That's the only thing I can put it down to. They're just mad. The Bale thing, as I said, the Bale thing is just jazz, man. That's just bullcrap, man. I didn't even want him anyways. There's no point. As I said, it's just gonna be a situation of he comes into the dressing room, thinks he's better than everybody else. There's no difference to him. If something happens and he wants to throw his toys out the pram, what I mean, what's stopping him from doing that at United? All that stuff, and also he's injury prone as well. We don't need that shit right now. Do you get what I'm saying? And also, and this is the thing, right? Even going on the transfers and that, I think I'm kind of buying into Solskjaer a little bit more. The reason why is because the types of players he's trying to bring in. It makes me think to myself, you know what? You're trying to actually build your own team, and you're picking up these young players and trying to build something from that. So when they started talking about Bell, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, that's not a thing, man. That's just bullcrap. The Regulian one, or regular, whatever however you pronounce his name, with him, that's the only one that I'm a bit disappointed about. I understand, right? It's going around in the news that Man United didn't want to actually do the whole buyback clause, which I don't blame them for it because Real Madrid are dickheads like that. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't blame United for that, the dickheads like that. But, where's all this negotiation power that Ed has and all this shit and whatnot to be able to get this guy or get him over the line and stuff like that? So I'm a bit disappointed about that, but I'm not angry because it's expected, isn't it? Again, we're just chasing this Sancho deal when there's other things we can be doing. We still have a sense about problem. I had a chat with my friend today. Listen to what we're going into the season with in terms of defense, right? We've got Harry Maguire, we still got Rojo, we still got Jones.
Still got Rojo.
Yeah.
Madness.
We still got Bailly. We still got Bailly.
Okay.
We still got who else is there? Smalling is coming back. Apparently it's looking like Smalling's gonna stay.
You excited?
And
Are you excited about that?
you know what? I don't mind Smalling. Smalling's all right. I think if he's picked up something from Italy, then I don't mind it. He's a good backup to have, but it's not enough. It's literally not enough. I think that's what's burning me about the Sancho thing. And what's going to happen is that it gets down to deadline day. We sign Sancho. Everyone goes, oh yeah, we signed Sancho, and everyone forgets that we've still got bullshit in the back. Do you get what I'm saying? We still got Joe. It doesn't make no sense. It's actually laughable. It's actually very funny. I sit there every day laughing to myself because of what these men are doing. You know what I mean? But bruv, it is what it is, man. I think the only thing that I'm a bit positive about the season is I'm looking forward to the youth coming out, kind of showing themselves. Other than that, I do not see us finishing in the top 4. I can't see it, man.
All I would say is hopefully Mike Smalling picks up some tech stuff. Doesn't pick up coronavirus.
Bro.
I think it's one of those things, though. I kind of get where the Man United board are coming from because they splashed so much money and still flopped. So if you're running a business and you're like, right, we can underperform having spent 200 million in a window, or we can spend 40 million and perhaps underperform, you're going to go for the cheaper option.
Yeah, but
and they do seem to be, sorry to cut you off, but they do seem to be more regulating what they're going for, and they have an idea of a target. They'll go for that target, and if it's not fitting what they want to do, because in the past you've had the Man United tax of 15 to 20 million added on to players, and I think it will be a painful period, but it might be a relatively smart idea to hold off and go, look, right, we're happy to spend this amount of money on Reguilon or Bale or whoever it is, but we're not going to let people take the piss out of us anymore. Because happened.
That's true. The regular, that's what I said. The regular one is fine. That I haven't got an issue with. Van de Beek one was perfect. That's why I said I'm kind of buying into what Solskjaer's doing. The problem, the disconnect here that everyone keeps on saying week in and week out, which I don't understand why. I do get why, but I don't understand why these high prolific people in football and all this stuff don't really talk about it. Is that there's a disconnect between the manager or the management team and Ed. not just Ed by himself, but Ed plus the Glazers and whatever, the CEOs want. There's a massive disconnect because, as I explained to one of my mates today, I said, I cannot believe, or I'm not going to sit here and go, it's it's Ed coming up with all these players and all this stuff. Solskjaer has given this guy a list. I want X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. Can you go and get these players? Out of that whole list, are you telling me, or let's put it a different way. So essentially what the media and everyone is telling us, or what Man United is telling the fans, is that Solskjaer came to me with 2 names on a list. I just want Van der Beek and Sancho. That's what Ed and everyone else is telling us. That's what he did. I can't believe that. I think that's bullcrap. I just think, like what you said, and I do have to agree with it. What's happened is that we got bumped so many times. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it's not because the managers have given a list to Ed, and Ed has said, right, Mourinho wanted this player, I got him this player, and they flopped. No, I don't think that's how it's happened. What I think has happened is they've gone and given him a list. Ed has looked at the list and said, well, I can't make so much money off these players if they come in. I'm going to go buy the next best thing. That's exactly what's happening. And that's what's happening with this Sancho deal. Because I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, so you're telling me Solskjaer is so... I mean, we don't know if he's inept not to do that, but, we're saying that he's so silly that he's just turned around and just given 2 people on a list of players to go and get. That's ridiculous. And that's where the massive disconnect is. And if people don't start talking about that, the only thing that's going to happen, sorry to say, is that Solskjaer is going to end up getting sacked. Halfway through the season, going to get sacked. Ed is going to turn around and say, well, he's not cutting, he didn't do the job properly and all that stuff. And that's going to be unfair because it's actually not his fault. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that, it's silly. It doesn't make no sense. But you know what? It's expected, man. The same thing happened, last season. We wanted these type of players, didn't get them. It's just it's just going to be a constant thing until that whole Glazer and all that Ed and all that stuff stops. Unless we bring in someone who's got some sort of management idea, we're going to keep having the same problems every single time. And we're going to keep on getting bumped because people know that we're desperate. That's the thing. People know that we're desperate. So they're going to say, and slap on an extra 20 million or whatnot. Apparently, I was hearing today that the Regulion one, Real Madrid actually, Man United said we'll pay 20, and Real Madrid said no, they're looking for 30, and apparently Ed didn't want to pay 30 mil. He wants to pay 20. Is what it is, man.
Talking about that left back position specifically, Dej, you've got Luke Shaw there. We've all seen the problems that he has. You've got Brandon Williams. He seems to be playing quite a few.
He's not a left back though.
He's not, but from what I've seen, is he much worse than your other option? Without being really insulting to Luke Shaw.
I like Brandon Williams. A lot of people have had a lot of issues with him. I like him. He's young. He's got tenacity. He looks like he's on point. He wants to be on that pitch, innit?
The man lad, right? He's a proper, he's from
I think he's from yeah. So I think he but he's not a left back. That's the thing, innit? He's not a left back, and he shouldn't be playing there. He shouldn't be forced to play there because now, if he starts playing shit, everyone will go, "Oh, he's shit." But that's not your position. But nobody cares about that anymore. Do you know what I mean? No one really gives a shit. It's like whatever position I play you, and I expect you to play it to your heart's content. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense. But Luke Shaw, I don't have a massive problem with him. His problem is concentration. There's some games where he just loses all concentration, which is not good enough. He needs to be more consistent and stuff like that. Mate, we need a left back. That's it. I don't know. I don't understand why we don't pay Dallo though, left back.
Okay.
But for some reason, I think the last couple of games he's played. Every time I've seen him, for whatever reason, he's always coming on right back. I don't know. Man United are mad. They just do random things. That's the only thing I can say.
It's the scarring from Mourinho, mate. The guy loves round peg in square holes. He loves it. But so what are you saying that you would like to see then? Would you like to see Luke Shaw? You would have liked to see Reguilon as your regular left back.
100%. Yeah. So I didn't know much about him. So obviously, when you have a player that you don't know about, everybody hits up YouTube, start watching the videos and that. So, oh shit, man.
Bless you, man.
Are you allergic to Man United left back?
I went on YouTube, saw a couple of his videos, watched a couple of analysis on him. He seems to be more of an attacking player, which Luke Shaw doesn't really tend to do too much. Reason why Luke Shaw doesn't do that too much, I think, is because of that injury. That's the only thing I can put it down to. Because before he got injured, he was flying up that left hand side. Him and what was his name? Memphis. When Memphis was there, them two work so well together and stuff like that. So I think ever since their injury, he doesn't really fly up that left hand side. When I was watching some of the videos of this Gulian guy, that's what he seems to be doing. He's more of an attacking player, attacking left mid than a defensive one. Because when I was looking at the defensive attributes, it wasn't the greatest, but attacking wise, perfect. And with the style of play that Solskjaer wants to play, that works very well. That fast attacking, get the ball up and stuff like that. Those are the kind of, I guess, right backs he's looking, left back he's looking for, and a right back. Unfortunately, what's his name? Our right back. I'm forgetting his name for man. Anyways, he doesn't. Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka doesn't do that as much, and he hasn't got the feet. We will be honest, he hasn't got the feet to do that. Sometimes he just looks like he's struggling there. He hasn't got the
somehow. Sometimes when you think, nah, he's not got this, he's gonna lose the ball, and he gets his foot in like a weird.
And it looks like a skill, but it's not a skill. It's just like shit. What did he just do? I don't know. What is that? You open up the instructions and you're like, shit. Oh. But yeah, no, he hasn't got the feet, so to have someone like him on the left hand side, it would have worked so well. Do you know what I mean? But again, man, I don't know. I keep putting my finger on Ed and all that stuff, and they need to be held accountable for it, man, because this is like 7-8 seasons now that we haven't stamped our name on in the last like 8 seasons, 7-8 seasons, and you can't keep blaming the manager. The manager can only do so much. Like if we go into the as I said, if I was Solskjaer, I know he can't do it, but if I was Solskjaer, literally, I would. If I was Solskjaer, literally, I would turn around and be like, "Listen, I'm not doing it anymore." If you turn around and say, you're going into the same season with the same players or one addition, I'll turn around and be like, "Thank you very much. It's time for me to go."
Well, Deji, if we look if we take United, obviously we know they're going for Sancho, the right wing. We've kind of identified that as a bit of a weakness with basically just Daniel James there. Obviously Greenwood towards the end of the season kind of filled in that role a bit. So that kind of right wing position, we all know the problems at centre back. Are you basically saying, what would you like to see from United in terms of that left back position? Do you want to buy someone and have Luke Shaw as second place, and then put Brandon Williams kind of further up the pitch?
No, I think I want competition. To be fair, Luke Shaw gets into the team every time. Okay. There's no doubt about it. If Luke Shaw's fit, Luke Shaw jumps into the team. He hasn't got competition, so if he wants, he can pretty much do what he like.
Okay.
Right.
Talking about jumping into the team.
Hi, how you doing, guys? I just wanted to Chelsea background. I don't know how to do it. Is it? How to do it? You guys, your background looks sick, innit? Mine looks dead.
Yeah. That's all right, Geezer. Don't worry, mate. It wasn't a smooth transition anyway. We got it.
Yeah. As I was saying, no, I think it's competition. Yeah, Luke Shaw gets into the team every single time, man, and he hasn't got competition. There's no one to tell him, where the days where you have no concentration, you got to concentrate, or else this guy's going to take your place, innit? Brandon Williams, I'd like it if he goes onto the right-hand side and has competition with Wan-Bissaka. That's the only thing that I can see making sense, innit? But that's what I would personally prefer. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know, man. But again, it could be a situation where he brings the youth in, innit? Do you know what I mean? So,
fair enough, mate. It seems like if we're talking about Reguilon and the kind of attacking player that he is, it seems like Spain love their attacking left backs, isn't it? Like Jordi Alba, even Marcos Alonso. Going back, we've got like Del Horno and people like that. So it's an interesting topic. But carrying on with Reguilon, we know that Spurs have basically got him in the bag. We've all seen or heard the problems that Danny Rose has had with Jose Mourinho. What's everyone's thoughts on that? Kel, do you wanna jump in with your thoughts on Danny Rose and the situation at Spurs?
Sorry. Danny Rose. I think Danny Rose is just a hothead, to be honest. Like he's the kind of person that's got a big ego, just like his manager. He doesn't want to be told what to do. He doesn't want to do it. I still feel like when he was playing with Kyle Walker, he had a decent season. I think he's very overrated. He doesn't know how to jump. He knows how to run, of course, but he can't jump in it. I know he's short and all that, but I reckon him and Mourinho never got along. You know when Mourinho criticizes you, and maybe because he's not used to being criticized. You know what I mean? He's a person that just doesn't like to be told what to do, or he wants to be cuddled in it. He wants to be like, keep doing, do what you gotta do, do what you gotta do. And then it's his fault why this team concedes all the time. You know what I mean? Mourinho is actually the only guy who actually is trying to do something better for him in the long term for the team. But yeah, Danny Rose is also homesick as well. He wants to go back to Yorkshire, isn't it? Is Yorkshire or Newcastle?
Yorkshire, he came from Leeds, yeah.
Lad, isn't it?
Yeah. So he wants to be close to the north, innit? Better fish and chips up there, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
That will help with him up and down the wing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting subject. And Deji, Ben, either of you?
No, I think you know what, bringing in, I get why they went, because I when I went for Regulion, I was trying to think, why are they going for him for? Like, it don't make sense. Like, I was trying to figure it out. So then I went to go check their lineup, and I saw that in the last game they had Davis at left back, and I was like, oh, it makes sense now. I get it. It's fine. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So do you guys not rate Ben Davies at all?
He's okay. I just don't think. So I think there's that line, isn't there? And it's about 6th place. And Ben Davies is completely a 6 to 10 place left back. I just don't think, I can't really see him week in, week out in the Champions League. And I think to get to those positions, which Tottenham want to do, you have to have players to get you there. And your team is only as good as the weakest link. And it's an issue nowadays. It's very difficult to get hold of like fullbacks because the role has become so demanding. You have to be able to defend, but you also have to be able to attack, and be up and down, and that's difficult on anybody. And I think that's why we've seen Danny Rose fall back, because yes, he was very good at attacking, but then I think the rest of football caught up with him and then went past that. And I just think, if it was still 5 years ago, Danny Rose of today would still be a good Premier League player. I just think the game has got quicker around him, and I don't think he's necessarily adapted to that.
It's interesting, man. I always thought that Danny Rose's physical attributes were his best attributes, actually. I always thought that mentally he sometimes slipped, and I'm obviously not referring to off-pitch mentally. We all heard about his struggles with mental health, and that is a serious topic, obviously. So putting that aside, I always thought that mentally that was his weakness. And those moments, like, obviously I'm a Chelsea fan here, so I'm going to be a bit biased. I've seen him clatter through our players and stuff like that. I've seen him lose his head plenty of times. We all saw at the Battle of the Bridge
That's the one.
as what kind of stuff he is capable of. But that is interesting, man. I mean, I 100% agree with what you're saying, Ben, about fullback positions and wingback positions. I mean, again, I'm using a Chelsea example, but Ben Chilwell, we all saw that Chelsea, they had to pay the 50 mil because it's a good signing. Like,
well, shaking your head,
people.
That's a bad signing. I don't think he's worth that money.
Well, have you really any money that anyone buys people for, though?
I think I would have preferred.
25 for Thiago.
I would have preferred a left back.
That's madness, mate. That's madness. But no, seriously, like what you were saying about the wing back position becoming so demanding. If you have a wing back that's Premier League proven, as in he's in the kind of top 5 clubs in the Premier League, he's English, we all know, whether we agree or not, there's going to be a premium on that for a number of reasons. Do you not think that price tag, I know it's a lot of money.
No, the only reason why he paid 50 million is because he's English. Yeah. If he was Spanish or Italian or whatever, you're never paying 50 million for him.
No, but that's part of
72 million. You know what I mean?
Say that again.
We spent 72 million on him, so
yeah, but I don't know who. Somebody was smoking a serious joint when they thought about. I don't know about that.
Another 70 mil.
Ooh, bro, that's mad. You actually paid 72 for Kepa. Why?
Yeah.
Mate,
it's because they got jealous because we spent 68 on Alisson.
Did they say?
Then 2 days later they had to be like, nah,
before Kepa,
Abramovich just came out like this.
before Kepa came, yeah, did he save the world or what? What did he do?
Real Madrid wanted to buy him, mate, and I think we basically because we were after Alisson, innit? Alisson chose Liverpool for obvious reasons, and then we had to pay more money than Real Madrid were willing to put on the table because we panicked. It was a panic buy, basically.
I think Real Madrid duped us. You know, they duped us. I mean, they thought that everything got duped because if they saw what they saw, he'd do up to us. Oh, man, they're just laughing at us right now, man.
See, I think as well, you didn't realise how old he was because he looked so young. I thought you'd think that he was like 17. You're like, oh, this kid's really good. And then when you got him there, you're like, what, 25? Fuck, he ain't getting much better than that.
Has he broken puberty yet?
What?
Has he broken past puberty yet? Because I haven't heard.
I don't think so, no.
He's still got his growth spurt coming, right? Let's hope.
We had a good day just to sit today at my tent. Is how he talks like after the interview.
On that point, though, Ben Chilwell is only 23. So I personally think, yes, I'm not saying he's the greatest left back in the world by no stretch of the imagination, but he is a solid. I think he's a good purchase, basically. And I think under Lampard, especially, you know, all the English players that we have coming through, Mason Mount, Tammy, Calum, I think it's a good young English group that kind of might have that morale and that fight together a little bit more. They've already got that connection. So yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion. Anyway, we'll see how it goes.
You know, with Ziyech and Captain America coming back into the team, Mount's gonna get benched. What?
Who? He's gonna get benched?
Mount.
Oh,
Tough, man. I have no idea what Frank's going to do.
this is what I'm saying. It's like what we said earlier on, though. That's not a bad problem to have. There's a lot of games. Yeah, you guys are in CL, innit? So there's a lot of games, man. Do you get what I'm saying? It's good. Yeah. I think it works out well for everyone. The more depth that you have, the better it is in the type of football that is being played today. I can't see it being a bad problem, really.
I don't agree with that, mate. We've had so many injuries recently. Like Kel mentioned, Pulisic just coming back. Like Ziyech on his first friendly game got flipping injured.
Yeah, but that's just bad luck, though. You can't.
How much happens? That's how much bad luck do you need, man? Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek were both out for over 12 months almost. No, I agree with what you're saying.
I think Loftus-Cheek has lost his navigation, man. I think him and
mate, I heard that his calves basically like shrunk by half because of the 12, 18 months that he was out. And that's what some people in the Chelsea camp were saying, like the physios and that, because they basically just lost so much muscle from his legs. So yeah, let's see how long it takes him to come back.
Since we lost our female doctor from Gibraltar, all of our medics have been poor. I mean, have we noticed that? That medical recovery nowadays. Let's go.
All right, guys. So moving past, I guess if we want to talk about some news coming out, obviously we've had Aubameyang sign his new contract with Arsenal, rumored to be in the region of £400,000 a week, plus add-ons. Kel's eyes say everything that everyone is thinking, or maybe not everyone, if you include Arsenal fans. What are your thoughts, guys? Ben, you want to start with this one, mate?
Yeah.
Pretty dumb overall. Right. It's a difficult one because obviously, like, he's their best player and he has the ability. We saw it in the goal that he scored in the first game when he pinged it in top bins. Like, he is a great, fantastic player. I think the issue is that you need to be careful that you're not building layers within that team. Because as soon as you put somebody...
Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought you were going to say you have to be careful you're not upsetting Ozil.
But this is the thing. So you've now got Aubameyang on 400k and you've got Ozil on 350k.
Yeah.
Everybody in the team has just agreed a pay cut. So they agreed it at the beginning of the pandemic. So it was originally 12.5, but everyone else has agreed a 7.5% pay cut since they qualified for Europa League. And it's just, you need to be careful. Madrid had that problem back in the day when they had like Zidane there as a player, where they then ended up with two tiers and they had, your more basic players and you had your higher price. The thing is now your players are going to turn round and go, well, if he's on 400,000 and Ozil's on 350,000, why am I only on 30, 40, 50?
Yeah, but the only person I see having that issue is Lacazette. No one else can really say that on that squad.
You don't think so?
Who else is gonna say, "Oh, I'm playing up to the level of Aubameyang, pay me more money"?
Good point.
So I'm not even saying up to that level. So I'm not saying anyone's going to turn around and be like, I want to be on 400k. But say I think Bukayo Saka signed a deal, I think about 30,000. Lacazette, Aubameyang is on over 10 times that. Are you saying that Aubameyang performs over 10 times as well as him?
Listen, Aubameyang right now to Arsenal, Aubameyang is God, Allah, everything. He's everything under the sun.
Yeah.
But not Messi though.
Huh?
He's not that. He's not a Messi kind of guy.
No, he's not a Messi guy, but he's without Aubameyang, Arsenal are pretty much bang average. Where their goals coming? Yeah. That's the thing, innit? So I get why they paid him 400k. Is it? I understand that, and I get your point. You're right.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of animosity and stuff like that, but everybody has to deal with it. And if they want to go and win their trophy again, then they're gonna have to pay this guy the bucks.
Right? Trophy, you mean the FA Cup?
Yeah, that's their trophy, bro. You know what I mean? That's
I just think it's one of those things. I just think you've now created an environment so the next player they go for is expecting bigger money. You just added onto every signing. They're looking for more. And like that might not be the worst thing in the world, but let's be honest, we know quite a lot about Arsenal's finances and they're not good. So like, I think it's I feel like it's shooting themselves in the foot a little bit by trying to keep on to him. And I understand why they tried to keep on to him. They've now raised the bar so high. And I think they'd already done that, to be fair, with Sanchez and Ozil, before. Yeah. They've already had that difficulty. And I've got no problem with Aubameyang turning around and going, well, hang on, Ozil's on 350k and he's not even in the team, and I'm keeping this club together. Like, where's my money? So from Aubameyang's perspective, fair play to a lad. Like, he deserves every penny he's got. I just think from the point of view of planning for the future, it's going to be a difficult situation already with Corona. Arsenal were in difficult financial straits before Corona hit, and now for you to raise a bar so high on one player, you are severely limiting your options in the future. So I just think.
Do you think they should have paid him the same amount as Ozil then to make it fair?
No.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I think they should have just let him undone his contract and go. I think at the moment you're trying to rebuild that team, and Arteta seems to have his head switched on in a lot of ways. He's bringing through younger players, and it's difficult for you to do that because if the players do start achieving, they're all going to now want a piece of the pie, or they're going to go. And I think it's almost like a distraction. It's like, I'm imagining they're going to let Ozil go at the end of his contract. I would have done a similar thing, or even sold Aubameyang and then put that money back into the team to rebuild. Because you're right. I mean, this is the thing. What happens if now Aubameyang gets injured? Arsenal have nothing else. Like
400k sitting there.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's not even the 400k. It's the fact that was your gamble for the season. Your gamble is Aubameyang is going to get another golden boot, score 20, 25 goals. If he can't do that, you've bet your whole year, your whole season, and all the money that comes with whatever position you might finish in, whatever trophies you might win, all of that is bet in one person. So, I mean, I'm happy to still see him in the Premier League, but I think it was a bad deal on their part.
I don't feel like Arsenal, do you? What? You feel like Arsenal, do you?
No, I don't think it's a fact of liking Arsenal or not. I think I agree with Ben, man, 100%. But I also look at it from this point of view. They had no choice. Their hands were tied. If they had lost him, they would have been done. They ain't getting nothing. I
think, to be honest, yeah, it is. I mean, we saw it before when they boosted Ozil's contract up to 350 when they lost Sanchez. Is they are just so bad at planning for the future. And getting people in that position. Like, do you remember there was that season when Fabregas was playing alongside Flamini, and Flamini was actually looking pretty good, and then they gave Fabregas an 8-year contract and let Flamini run his contract down. And then next season they're like, oh wait, we don't have a defensive midfielder. Like, it's dumb shit like that. Like, I don't think that the people in charge, and it's something they need to sort out, because at the end of the day, if you're Arteta, how are you planning to build for the future if the people in the office is just like,
Yeah,
It's like they're effectively randomly running in with numbers on a piece of paper. Like, you got 12 million today, but we've just given Aubameyang 400k. Like, they're like, what the fuck? Like,
I think that the best description for them is they like to put all their eggs in one basket, basically.
Yeah.
That's what they like to do, innit? And
Yeah.
I feel the issue is, the way that I see it, is they're trying to. It's like they're buying last season. They're not progressing. They're like, what happened? What was good last year? Oh, Aubameyang was amazing last year. We've got to keep him. And I don't think that's progressive vision. I think they're always looking back and they're trying to secure what they had last year. And it's like, but everybody's moving on. Like, everybody's picking up players. Like, even, I know you want Man United to have done more business, but Van der Beek is a good signing.
Oh no, he is.
But all of the young players are another year more experience and stuff like that. And football's constantly moving. And I feel like Arsenal are trying to buy the position from last year when everybody's already moved on.
Well, the positive for Aubameyang is that Lambo is going to look hella shiny.
I don't blame him 1 second.
Lambo.
But where's he going to drive it? Because all this cycling's been built up everywhere.
Listen, when you've got 400 bags, you can do what you like. It doesn't matter anymore. Remember when what's his name? Old City player. Balotelli, when he parked on double yellows and that, and they gave him a ticket, man just dashed it. He didn't even care. But this guy would park on red route. I don't even care. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't he have like a camo skin Bentley or something?
Yeah, something dumb like that, right? Yeah. 400 bags, you can do what you like, man.
No, I think, sorry, go.
Sorry, I just wanted to touch on what you man was saying. I mean, to add my own influence in it.
Yeah.
I think 400 Korean is a bit too much, I don't care if you're the MVP or not. I mean, like, for a team that made so many people redundant, I mean, and then you decided to leave someone that's worth 350k on the bench without even putting in the match squad. Now you're going to give someone 400k, who is actually your savior. I'm not going to lie to you. He scored pretty much more than half the goals, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
More than half the goals. So without him, they would have been basically way below. They probably would have made 15th place,
So, 15th. Yeah. No, I think
because the FA Cup one as well. He's basically saving them in it, and the final. If our captain America didn't get injured, wouldn't be heard nothing about Aubameyang. He would have gone to Barcelona. You know what I mean? He'd have effed off in it, but they won the trophy.
True. I think, and the thing is, what's so interesting? Just this last point. What's so interesting is I don't get. I'm trying to understand why he's staying at Arsenal, because he can't turn around and say I'm looking to win trophies. Man, he just went for the 400 bags, but he doesn't even want a trophy. I don't think he wants a major trophy. I don't think he's not interested in that. Yeah, he just wants the FA Cup is nothing, man. But I think he doesn't want. I'm gonna question his ambition.
Well, for the money or the football? Because his money ambition is right.
Listen,
there.
If it's money ambition, yeah, that's top echelon.
Maybe he wants to win Europa League, innit? You never know.
Bruv, can they really?
that Europa League tweet, that was too much. This is where.
Oh yeah, that's where you belong. I think it's one of those things. I think, and I always bring it back to it. And I am sorry for that to keep banging on, but like we're in such a different condition because of COVID. And clubs are acting so differently. And I think if it never happened this summer, I think people like Real Madrid would have looked at Aubameyang and been like, if he's happy to take a second tier spot, we can get a world-class striker that we can keep on our bench, bring off. He can play on the left if we need him to. And they would be more interested in spending that money. I think he's got to this summer. And he, this is now like his last big contract, like probably, like he's unlikely to get another one. And I think the actual offers that came in, I mean, they claimed 2 other clubs wanted to sign him. It might just be that Arsenal was the best of that because nobody else wanted to take the risk on a player who wasn't going to be that first. In the same reason that's why we pulled out of the Timo Werner deal, is because we couldn't guarantee the board that he was going to be a first team player. So the board are like, well, we don't want to spend 54 and then it's like 20 million in signing an agent and then his wages on top if he's not going to come in and everybody has changed their perspective. And I think, I could have, last season, I could have imagined Aubameyang going to a host of clubs across Europe. Yeah. Now I don't see those clubs going in for him. So I don't know who went in for him, but I imagine they're not. They're teams that are going to get him in the team every week in, week out, and maybe they're not going to be the clubs that are going to be winning trophies and giving him the money that he was looking for. So,
well, Ben, the rumors were, or the news was, is that the two clubs were Inter Milan and Barcelona, and I heard apparently Barcelona's was a pretty concrete offer, but I think that's part of the story that we've seen unravel with Memphis. And we've all kind of seen how Memphis used to play on the left, and he's kind of transformed into more of a number 9 in the more recent years. And I think that Barca, they're going to move on Suarez. I think that's pretty much, I say it was done, but it's looking very likely. And I think that, or it was looking very likely, I should say, looking to bring Aubameyang in as his replacement. And now they've kind of, since Aubameyang decided to stay, they have switched their attention to Memphis, that we've seen in the last kind of couple of weeks or so. And Inter Milan, they've obviously got Lautaro Martinez. I think that, I love that guy, to be honest. He's just a clinical striker. He's a beast up at the top for them. And maybe they weren't sure that they could shift him on. And maybe because of that, they couldn't guarantee that Aubameyang would be, playing all the time, because they would have to balance the two of them. But my kind of, from like more of an Arsenal perspective, the kind of two sides of the coin, like 100% get that, he's the club captain, he lifts them, he elevates that team to a different level. The other side of it is that if you look at the attacking players, you got Pepe, you got Lacazette, you got Willian, you got Saka.
I wasn't ready for that one.
You got Martinelli. You got other players like Reece Nelson and Nketiah and people like that. I don't know how, in the same sentence that I say Aubameyang elevates them to another level, I don't know how much worse they would have been if they had reinvested that salary and any potential transfer funds in the rest of the team. It's an interesting one. Obviously, we'll never.
I see where you're getting at. So basically Aubameyang is just basically a top tier player in a mediocre club. You know what I mean, if he plays in a better team with better attackers with him, you know what I mean, like say like Barcelona for example, or Chelsea, or Liverpool, like Salah, Firmino, Mane. I don't think he would be in the first team, because they would be better.
No, he would.
You reckon?
Yeah.
He walked into basically any team, right?
He can walk into anyone's team.
Ben, thank you.
Not Liverpool.
I think he could certainly. I think he could
Liverpool.
fight for. I'm not saying he would necessarily walk in, but if he went to a club, he's definitely in rotation option and playing a lot of games.
You don't think that he would walk into City, Stage?
No, he won't walk into City, and he won't walk into Liverpool right now as we stand, but he will walk into everyone else's team.
Okay,
even our team.
Yeah, he'll walk into your team. Oh wait, hold on, no, you got Pulisic though. The hell. Yeah. No, he'll be there. To
be honest, though, I would say if he went Chelsea at the moment, he would probably get in just because the Premier League knows what he can do.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have people like Timo Werner and Ziyech. It's like they're gonna need to adapt to the whole new country, the whole new culture, all of that malarkey. So I think he would probably walk into Chelsea just because he's done it week in week out for like 3-4 years now.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to Mkhitaryan, because Mkhitaryan was like, "Oh, come to England, Aubameyang," and they never popped in it. The partnership that they had in Dortmund. Yeah, I wonder what happened.
It's mainly because Mkhitaryan turned shit. I think is the main thing that held him back.
Did he go to AS Roma afterwards, Mkhitaryan?
Yeah, I think so.
He went on loan. I think he stayed there. Yeah.
Just on that segue to AS Roma, apparently Leicester have bagged Cengiz Ünder for about 30 million, which I think is going to be. He's a great player, great signing. Be interesting to how it affects players like Harvey Barnes and players like that. Damari Gray, who was a great talent at Birmingham, and then kind of hasn't had a lot of game time basically. So just a quick note on that. Do you guys have any quick thoughts? Quick one sentence thoughts?
I think
I was.
Go on.
No, go ahead, mate.
Okay, I'll keep it under 55 seconds. I think Harvey Barnes. Yeah, when I watched him play against us when we played at their stadium, like he's not that kind of clinical guy in it. Like I know he's got all the hype around him, And you know, Leicester City right now, they wanted to remember they were champions only 4 years ago, innit? So they want more impact. They want to show that they're not a fluke, if you know what I mean. Last season they should have been top 4, but with Harvey Barnes being more clinical, helping out Vardy, and who else was good for best last season? Yeah, remember they had Okazaki. They had
I love that guy, man. I love Okazaki.
They moved it on too quickly. So Demarai Gray, I think like he just needs to try and be more of a Beckham kind of player than a rude boy kind of player, because he's not really doing much in it. Just practice more after school. Not after school.
Oh shit!
Just practice more in it. Just practice more of the free kicks, the long range hits. You know what I mean? Take on better players. Learn from people who are better than you, not from people who are on the same level. That's what I'd say.
Okay. Ben, you wanna give us your opinion, mate?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that I just think that Leicester, they started very brightly last year and they kind of fell away. And I think part of that was they just didn't have the squad to compete at the highest level. So I think anyone coming in and strengthening that group, like Deji's touched on a lot today, like there isn't rotation needed. It's going to be a much more crammed up season than it ever has been. So I think rotation is going to be king this year. With it being shortened because obviously they're trying to do the 2021 Euros, everything's been moved. And I just think, you know, if you're bringing quality players into a club, it's only going to be a good thing as long as the manager and Rodgers has done rotation in the past. It's just now you've got the guys in, how to best rotate them and stuff like that. So again, it's a nice problem to have another great player in your squad.
Fair enough, mate. Deji, any thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree with what Ben said, man. Just wrap it up. On that,
Well, guys, just a final piece of news that we picked out from the news articles online. Apparently, the Premier League has agreed a new broadcast deal in China to cover the rest of the 2021 season. Apparently, its previous deal, which was due to end in 2022, and it was worth $500 million. That ended because apparently the TV company didn't make a £160 million payment that was due in March. So I don't know what happened there. No one will probably ever find out what happened. But yeah, that's just a random piece of news story for the week, guys.
It's going to be in Chinese when we look at the streams. It's going to be Chinese or English. Like,
oh my goodness.
I mean, it's okay.
Jesus.
That about wraps it up. Do you have any other things that you wanted to bring up this episode?
No,
Yeah, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, man.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Spotify. All the social media accounts will be down below.
Kel, you're going to point to the subscribe button?
Yeah. Huh? Point to the subscribe button. Or...
Wait, I'm trying to work out. I think it's here. It might be here. It's the red one.
The red one right there. Subscribe. And hit the notification right there on top.
It's a little bell in it.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
So, yeah.
Nice one. Thanks very much for your time today, guys. And yeah, we will see you very soon.
Cool.
Peace.
Cheers, boys. Bye.